It's your boy, it's the hustler. You know what it is. The Gap Bundles, Gorilla Gang. And we up here posted up with the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. It's your boy, you dig?
Welcome to episode 58 of the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Oaks.
And I'm Brian Hines, and I've been thinking about the return to Davis Arena for OVW Homecoming, and I am filled with anticipation.
It's not even September yet. We'll get into all of the action from OVW 1306, the final non-rise before next week's OVW Homecoming.
And we have a list of things to talk about before Homecoming live at Davis Arena as well.
We will finish our list this Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the OVW YouTube channel during OVW Fan Zone Live. That is, of course, where Wednesday nights fans talk back. This week, the triumphant return of Davis Arena predictions. Now we have more predictions that come with consequences because we have rules for consequences at this point. We will officially take your questions, your comments, make predictions, play games, and talk about all the latest OVW tour stops.
And for the OVW Summer Tour recap, we will talk about our experiences, like the Manchester Music Hall, the Kentucky State Fair, that was just yesterday, and rumors that we may have heard over the course of the summer about some big turnouts and some other things that may be in the works.
Believe it or not, from time to time we do hear some things.
We do.
Hi, Tiny Brian.
Hey.
Hi, I am Tiny Brian, and I have been lingering right here behind the camera this whole time. Apparently, I'm loud. Can you maybe turn my mic down a little bit? I know. If you turn me down a little. Okay, I'm arguing with
A rare Malachi on the microphone moment here.
Wow. Proof. So I thought we'd slow down here and just talk about this. This has been, the summer tour here was a brainchild of last year. They did the Kentucky tour, and it was a success, and they wanted to go bigger. And lots of Foley work this week with the mic.
And bigger they did.
Yeah, and it feels like it's been a pretty good success. Would you guys say?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, from what we saw, we've seen a handful of these shows.
And what I hear based on both the other fans and OVW officials, it seems like there's been pretty good turnout at a lot of these shows. So it's been a pretty good summer for them, really.
I mean, given the circumstances.
Yeah, in that sense, that is the one kind of the bright spot, given that they kind of had to shut down for a whole build up to a pay-per-view here.
Well, every silver lining's got a touch of gray,
What's that? That stupid band with the big curly-headed hippie. The original gentrifiers, the Grateful Dead, right?
Okay, I don't know what you just said, but whatever. Moving on.
All right, so let's kind of, we are going back, and I think we're going to tailgate. You guys want to go and set up the tent and maybe have some food and hang out with anybody who shows up early for Rise?
Oh, you don't got to ask me twice.
I would say that this is truly kind of the brainchild of one Brian Hines to begin with.
He has been wanting to do this for months, almost since we began this weird journey that we're on.
And the one time we almost got to do it, we had car trouble. We still had a great meal that day, but this seems like more of an opportunity, the great opportunity here.
This seems like the perfect opportunity.
Right place, right time.
That's right.
So keep watch on our social media, I guess, and we will probably be showing up at Davis Arena several hours before Rise, so we can kind of sit outside, talk to you guys, maybe go live on the internet. Who knows?
We'll
get
figure
some
turkey burgers.
I don't know. I mean, probably.
That would be cool.
I just had one for dinner.
They're good, aren't they?
It was a bacon chili cheese burger
with the turkey burger.
With a turkey burger.
Nice.
It was really good.
I like a good messy plate.
It was definitely.
I like a good messy plate.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
So there are a few things that we've heard, kind of like we said, some things in the works. These are the things that we can speak out into the ether truthfully. Did you hear that they branded Davis Arena?
I did hear that, yes.
I think this is a really smart move for Davis. Excuse me. I think it's a really smart move for Davis. This is just the trend of the entire industry.
Yeah.
Even in our town, both of the big sporting venues here in our town are now both corporately branded.
Yes, they are sponsored.
So, I mean, this is just a smart move. This is the way the entire sporting event industry, the entire live event industry is moving. So why not do it at Davis Arena for Hot Point?
Yeah, they sure did. So from
Well,
now
Hot
on,
Point has done a lot for them.
Yes.
So.
Davis and Hot Point absolutely.
they most certainly
has
have
done a lot for
and
them.
thank you, Hot Point, for everything that you've done. If nobody's told you, Mr. and Mrs. Hot Point,
I'm sure they've gotten a lot of handshakes.
I would imagine so. Yes.
Gerald and Francine Hot Point started making air conditioners out of their garage in 1923.
Yeah, and they're still going strong today.
Yeah, back then it was just a big piece of ice and a fan.
We could use one of those for the studio sometimes in the summer when it gets hot.
The first indoor air conditioning in Lexington and in much of the world, much of the United States, I guess I should say, was actually in movie theaters.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was the big draw.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
the big moving pictures were kind of secondary to you'll unstick your underclothes from your skin because you won't be sweating.
You can sit in a dark place and kind of be anonymous. I think too is a big draw for early movie theaters. But yeah, definitely being cool.
Yeah,
Definitely being cool.
it's a good napping weather, with it's dark and it's cool.
Speaking of a place I was glad was
I've
air
been
conditioned.
in the movies a lot this past few weeks, and with some of these things, it's hard not to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Speaking of places I was glad was air conditioned, we did ourselves go to one of the most recent stop on the Dano's national tour, which was at the Kentucky State Fair. As a lifelong or near lifelong Kentucky resident, I am kind of ashamed to admit that this was my very first time going to that fair, even though it is my state's fair.
I wish we had more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen to that.
We got a late start. We got a little turned around, but we did walk through some of the buildings. We entered through the Swan Door, which was not I didn't realize that we named doors by animal.
Yep.
At the Kentucky State Fair.
Well, you got to know what you're shopping for.
Sure. I mean, that's a very basic way to go shopping for meat. I saw pigs. I saw cows. I saw bison.
Yeah.
I saw sheep.
One bison.
One tiny bison.
Yeah.
Some sheep. Yeah. All the different kinds of cows. I love that's like my favorite place on earth. I could have stayed in there all day long.
We did see some horses too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
did.
saw some police officers on horses, and
We saw some pigs on horses, baby. Boom. There it
Oh,
was.
look at that.
There it was, baby. So
Anyway.
easy. So easy. So easy. 2 points for Jackman.
The opinions of Jackman Oaks do not reflect the opinions of the OVW podcast.
In public. Moving on.
so yeah, it was a good show, and it was a fun place. I was glad that I finally actually went there. I'd only been to that property one other time because I went to Kentucky Kingdom once.
Yeah, it's like right over the
Yeah, you can see
fence there.
Yeah, you can see the roller coasters kind of looming in the distance as you're there.
Yeah,
and
it's funny as a kid when I would go, I'd be like, can't we just go to
the real roller coasters, not the ones that were on the interstate
yeah,
rolling.
It's right over the fence.
I did notice some bigger roller coasters. And I thought, man, you guys really throw down for the state
For the
fair,
state
not
fair.
realizing that Kentucky Kingdom was within line of sight. So that makes a little bit more sense now.
Yeah, that's what that parking and Freedom Hall is also there. If you've ever heard of the Louisville,
Where they used to play ball.
yeah, they used to play Louisville Cardinal basketball right there too. It was all like they all shared a parking lot because it's a huge parking lot.
I stayed at a Knights Inn over there once. It was weird. Weird place to stay. It was like clearly hadn't been renovated since like the peak of Knights Inn in the 70s or 80s. So it still had like all of the like plush.
Knott's Inn had a peak.
Yeah, because that was like kind of their thing for a while was like, oh, you can come live like a king and everything is like very 70s decadent, very
Conversation pits.
shag and very plush and velvety and for a cheap hotel, those aren't necessarily the smartest materials to outfit a room in.
Sure.
But that was like their thing. They had Fiji water. You had to pay $5 for it. I remember that.
A mini bar at a motel. That's
We watched a lot of what's the Shia LaBeouf's Disney Channel show? For some reason,
Shia LaBeouf had a Disney Channel show.
Yeah, Even Stevens.
Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that was Shia LaBeouf, Brian?
I did not.
I did not either.
It was like one of those things where we were Cartoon Network kids, but I guess that hotel didn't have Cartoon Network, so we were like, I guess we'll watch Even Stevens.
This is what we're working with.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Johnny Bravo right now, but
Oh well.
Well, yeah.
But good matches, good crowd for the third time.
Great
we were
crowd,
at
great
we
crowd.
were the last show of their 3-show stand there at the fair, and it was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to kind of wander around a minute to find some seats even.
Yeah, I was glad to see it.
they put them in a great location for foot traffic, and I mean there was a lot of familiar faces there too. There's a lot of people there. I would say that the usual things that you expect from the country fair were an added bonus to getting to see OVW.
That is true. But there were a lot of strangers there, too. I yelled out. Like, I remember yelling one fall when good guy Eric Cornish announced the match would be one fall, and having 3 or 4 people turn around and look at me like I'd grown a second head. So I'm like, no, we do. That's a thing we do.
Yeah.
Unless you go to live wrestling, sometimes that one's a hard one to
Sus.
to remember.
Yeah.
That's not one that they do like a ton of on TV that like comes back on TV now.
Yeah.
But almost everyone for the first match in Davis Arena at least knows,
One
fall.
and for the main event usually.
Yeah. So why don't we do this? I've got another block of things I want to talk about before we get into the match. But before we do that, why don't we actually do the tour update right fast?
Okay, sure.
Kind of break the monotony of this up a little bit.
Let's see. Next up on the OVW calendar is Homecoming, obviously this Thursday at Davis Arena on August 29th. The OVW pay-per-view Fight Night at Appalachian Wireless Arena in Pikeville, Kentucky is August 31st, just 2 days after that, featuring Kevin Nash, Victoria, The Boogeyman, and recently announced JBL. And from what we've heard, we can't confirm anything, but they're not done yet.
Wouldn't even if we could, but
Nope.
yeah, we've heard that there's some things down the pipeline.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. And the person we spoke with was very, very excited about everything to come up.
Very obviously excited about Thursday night's show.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
And,
the implication of getting one show before the pay-per-view is you basically have to do everything to set up this pay-per-view in one episode, 1 2-hour episode of wrestling.
which is Herculean feat, if you ask me, but I know that OVW can handle it.
It's going to be a bonanza.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
I always like that theme song. It's one of my favorites as far as the Westerns go. But anyway, I digress. September 10th, Louisville, Kentucky at the Louisville City FC. That is the night of the Luchadors. And Georgetown, Kentucky, September 13th at the Country Boy Brewing Tap Room. We've got Longport, Indiana on October 4th. That is a free outdoor show. And we've got Rockin' Wrestling at Mom's Music in Louisville on October 5th. And we will get into all the action from last Thursday.
Well, let's do one thing before we actually go to break.
Yeah,
I've got one. Let's go back to
We're breaking up the notage, I think.
Yeah, the notes are kind of weird. I had to jumble some things around, so I apologize. Let's talk about, because we do return to Rise this Thursday for a sold-out crowd. If you don't have a ticket for Thursday, you're not getting in.
Sorry about you.
Yeah, they're going to be standing in the aisles as it is.
You snooze, you lose.
We're going to be testing that brand new air condition. But I thought about we might take a couple minutes here before the break and just kind of talk about what to expect with this new. What's new? What are we going to look for with this stuff? And I've got a few notions of what we're going to expect.
Sure. Take it away.
You've already sort of mentioned that this is now going to be Hot Point Davis Arena.
Yep. My opinions on that, probably there could be very little that could happen for me to change my opinions on branding your live venue.
I think it's great. I'm pretty sure. I wonder if we'll see things like Hot Point on the merch, Like if you get an OVW T-shirt, will they put a little hot point on the shoulder?
See, love OVW making the money. This is where I start to get weird about the branding of things. But that's more of like my personal thing. But like, dude, does Hot Point need it? Like, really? Like, is it going to help Hot Point in the grand scheme of things to put their little logo at the bottom of a giant OVW logo? I don't know. Probably. I guess conventional wisdom would suggest that it would, but I don't know. I think everything's on the table because Hot Point did them a huge favor.
Absolutely.
They sure did.
This is a very expensive piece of equipment that they replaced, and I just hope they keep Crixus away from it from now on.
Please.
Let's
Electrified steel cage. That's what they need around it.
And that is our new HVAC system, so it should be much more pleasant in there than the last time, or the last couple times even we were there.
And I have a feeling that at some point, a lot of these upgrades that we'll see were always, on the table or best case scenario, pie in the sky, dreams. But they were forced into a scenario where it had to be replaced immediately.
Yeah, they couldn't safely do it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, it'd be interesting. Because it's not just HVAC that they've done in there. It should be a lot of changes, my understanding.
I understand there's a lot of subtle changes. The biggest thing that we're going to notice is lights.
Oh yeah, that's
like
right.
There's gonna be new lights throughout Davis Arena. They were already getting those done before the shutdown, but now they've managed to do a lot of things, and we're gonna be in this autumn. It's gonna look Davis Arena and that show, especially on television, is going to start to look very different, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm very excited for the new effects, the new lights, all the stuff that is coming to OVW.
I think that it kind of can be said to encapsulate all of the things that you're saying, is that they know that this has not been easy on them or the fans, and whenever they come back, it's hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Not just in terms of presentation, but
No. All cylinders.
yes, yep.
Yeah.
Anything else, Tiny Brown?
Yeah, there is one more thing I thought of is that we're going to see new faces and storylines. I think they're going to continue as many of these stories as they can, but I'm pretty much certain that at least some of the faces that we were seeing with OVW when we went on vacation may have found other things to do, or we may not see them as much as we come out of vacation. So be prepared for new stories and new faces, which is true of any time with wrestling in general.
And there's some things I wish we could say right now, but I don't. I also, if people are inclined, don't think they're that hard to find. But yes, we are going to be, Thursday night is going to be a very interesting show, and the fight night and its fallout is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. It's going to be an amazing show, I think.
It's going to be a really, really exciting week leading up to that.
Hey, and we're all ready to be back.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Brian, we'll start with you on this one last thing I want to talk about. Anything thoughts on how they're going to use any of these legends that they're bringing in?
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. I got nothing. Sorry.
Jackman? No, you're fine. Sometimes it's, I love that, we kind of carry off the mystery. There is no obvious choice, like who pairs with JBL? I don't know. If we're going to put a superstar with somebody, maybe, what do you think, Jackman?
Well, the first thing comes into my mind is Will Austin selling a clothesline from hell.
Ooh.
And, you can do that in any number of ways. I don't, maybe Austin cheats to beat Buzz, retains the championship, and JBL's the one that, kind of comes out. I just want to see Will Austin sell clothesline from hell, really. That's what it comes down to. Usually, so, I think that an example of what we could look at when we're using these legends is the way that WWE and AEW has used legends. You come out, you use them in a skit, you use them in something, and you accentuate everything that the audience remembers them for being.
Right.
And I think that will be kind of what we see. I don't think we're getting necessarily like a ton of involvement in action, like in matches. I don't think we're getting like a, special guest referee, this or that. I just think that it's just going to be an opportunity for wrestling fans to see people they recognize and for these people to do the thing that they want to see them do. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't see a whole lot of in-ring content from these legends that have been invited to be a part of this.
Well,
but
JBL shows up in some weird places. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's true. But as far as that goes, I don't really want to speculate because I want to just sit back and show up and just be surprised and just let OVW work its magic like they do every week.
Just want to see. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Either of you have a dream of who you'd love to see show up on Saturday? Because since we know they're still booking and still trying to pull people in.
I would like to see what happened to Mick Foley.
I think a return for Mick Foley is almost imminent.
Yeah, look at that.
That is unanimous.
I'll
two
make
out of
it
two
unanimous.
unofficial podcasters agreed.
And I'll add an executive producer, so I want to see Mick myself.
P.S. Your thoughts?
He's not sure.
50-50 shot. 50-50 shot.
He prefers Mankind.
Well, sure.
He's a Mankind guy,
yeah,
really.
Who doesn't?
He's actually like, I like Cactus Jack, but only in Japan.
He has very subtle wrestling opinions.
Yeah.
Our studio engineer.
He's like, IWA's King of the Deathmatch tournament is probably the finest deathmatch tournament ever put on.
All right.
Looking very thoughtful at his desk, our engineer.
The Japanese IWA.
Yes.
He wants to be very specific about that.
He does.
Yeah. Well,
all right, so let's transition.
All right. Well, I think it's actually, we'll be
Somebody
back right
needs
after this.
Thank you. So, we're moving closer on home front. I think you might expect actually a trailer post in our feed. I discovered our old posting page. It is very dusty. I've got to dust off the Bluegrass Homefront posting page so we can actually post a real update for you guys. But if you're not subscribed in there and ready for the new episodes, this is the week to do it because I think we're going to get Victor together. We're going to drag in our old table. We're going to build a version of our set right here on the new Nuthouse Studios set, and it's going to be fun. BluegrassHomefront.com, Bluegrass Homefront on social media. You can go follow us there if you want, and you can find us wherever you find your podcast. Bluegrass Homefront. Now back to the OVW podcast, already in progress.
Welcome back to the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogues.
I'm Brian Hines.
All right. It's a Wednesday night, or it's the Sunday night show, rather. Monday morning show for some of you. So we don't do the usual format. So we're doing that Wednesday night show where I just sit back and go, Tiny Brian, tell me about the matches. But I don't get to do that here. It's just me and you.
I don't know about them.
Yeah.
I have to listen to you guys talk about them before I'm ready to do the Wednesday night show. I am not the expert on wrestling that the two of you are.
So, Brian Hines, tell me what this 1306 episode of OVW Rise was all about.
Well, this is obviously the setup for OVW Homecoming this Thursday. And with that being said, we've already gone over the most recent OVW storylines over the course of the past couple weeks. And, with that being said, this episode was, obviously part of that as well. But it was a little bit different than what we had seen before. They had previously run the pay-per-view schedule, which was a very, very solid choice on their part, allowing people to see the premium shows and see what they're missing if they hadn't ordered them before. The last few regular episodes before vacation. And this one was a little different because it was kind of, a Frankenstein of sorts. The first hour being from one program, and then the second one seemed like it had elements from a couple of other different episodes that aired previously. And I thought that was curious because it made me wonder, why did they show these particular matches from these previous episodes at this particular time?
I wonder if it was it's going to be so hard to tell now that we are actually looking at an imminent release date now that we're 4 days away from a new episode. And we know that some of these matches that seemed kind of obvious are no longer so obvious. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself about making predictions based on this, but I can definitely see ones that if I was reading tea leaves, I could see maybe some things. I could see where they're going for some things. Everything is about to be so different about what we think we know about OVW come 9 o'clock on Thursday night.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know about predictions per se because I feel like it's more of just speculation. I mean, they've had a good 2 months to plan their next moves, and being as shrewd as they are with programming and storytelling, I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of surprises in store.
Well, and we know that this thing is about to be to the minute tight.
Yes. 1,000%.
And they've got a lot of ground to cover, man.
Yes, they do.
So
Much like the last pay-per-view, Independence Rage, that was back to back to back to back to back.
It really was stuffed like it had cheese in the crust.
It did, yeah.
We do know that there will be something of a card released beforehand for Thursday. So we will have at least some matches to discuss about that for the Thursday card.
On Wednesday night?
On Wednesday.
Well, I'll say it
That's
here.
what I hear.
I'll say it here because I don't want to say it here. That card is irrelevant for Thursday night because every single thing on that thing is about to be jumbled by the end of it. Like, every single... You know what I mean? Like, there's almost nothing. We're at the end of speculation here because the homecoming event is about to be so massive that none of us are even going to be able to...
It's basically a pay-per-view in and of itself. That's what I sort of assume is we're. I agree. We certainly won't get a list of every match that's going to happen. There are going to be surprises.
There's going to be a lot of red herrings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about OVW. A lot of misdirection sometimes. You think you know exactly what's going to happen, and then, nope.
But you don't know.
And even when you do know, when you figure it out, there'll be an element that you didn't see coming.
Right.
That's the best part about the swerves of OVW. Even when you know them, you don't know them.
Yeah.
You just think you know them.
And that's why their storytelling is fantastic, and that's not something you can say about everywhere else all the time. But consistently in OVW, yes, it is.
You think you know me's a different guy, though. That wasn't Al's song.
No. I don't really know Al's music specifically. I don't remember it being super memorable.
I can hear it, but I cannot do it. And the only reason I think I can hear it is because I did somewhat go back and rewatch some Al stuff like 8 months ago for some reason.
That'll do it, all right.
So let's get into these matches. Brian, what lead us off?
Okay, for our first match was Cal Hero versus Will Austin, and I believe we were in attendance for that one.
It's weird. We're at a point where we're just in attendance.
Yeah.
You know, with luck, especially these past few weeks, looking back at some of these moments, the moments they chose to see us, wondering why, if for any reason that they wanted us to see them in the order that we did, we were there for all of them, basically.
Just about. One thing at the end, Brian, you were saying is from before, right? We think.
I got the impression that the 10-man match at the end happened just before we started covering the weekly show on the podcast.
So this is before. This is why Cal is in his reign as media champion. It looks like he's.
This is right after the fireball.
The fireball from Adam Revolver, yeah.
That spot.
Yeah.
Just what can we say about that fireball spot?
Yeah.
3 inches to the left. That's what I say about that fireball spot.
4 inches south.
Will Austin. Looking back on it here. This is actually Cal is the Rush Division champion, not the media champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when he was still feuding with
Adam
Revolver.
Right.
I don't think Adam shows up here, but
because
yeah.
this was when the Kentucky was still the Kentucky.
I believe so, yes. So,
Indeed, and it was, someone else had it. Tony Evans was mad at him, whoever they were.
Will Austin has become, the go-to heel in the mid-card, I would say. Honestly, kind of replacing, a spot that Adam Revolver had for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's funny to kind of look back at it here. It's can make a guess. I don't remember exactly how this ends. Will Austin takes home the victory. Adam Revolver interferes.
Did Adam Revolver interfere?
That's just this is me.
He did later. He later on in a different match.
This is just me guessing about because I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know that this was. I didn't know that there was like new stuff because I'd gotten kind of so used to it being replays, and I was like, oh, I can do replays all day.
Well, if it was a full episode replay of like 11.99 or whatever,
yeah, I didn't do my job. I didn't do my job. I'll admit it, but. That is like kind of my guess because that's what was going on at this time, right? Is Cal and
but
Adam
no,
in
there
each
was no
other's
interference in this one.
Just kept Cal strong.
Yeah,
pretty sure Adam was actually not allowed in the building at this point.
Oh,
because of the fireball.
Yeah, that's right. Banned from the building.
So Cal wearing some pretty good looking burn, really, when the bandages finally come off.
Well, and Cal, this is. Kind of like peak young white meat, Ricky Morton, whatever, babyface version of Cal. Dusty Rhodes babyface version of Cal. And I think he's bigger now than he is here. And I think he's a lot more intense. I think he's a lot more, there's a discipline and a direction in his movement now that this version of the character kind of maybe didn't have. And you could say the same thing for Will Austin. He's just gotten tighter and tighter as well as a wrestler.
Yeah, this is pre-Future Figure 4, right?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is before he got into the submission holds, definitely.
This is when he wasn't really picking up a lot of wins.
No, this was the heart of the Push Will Austin movement, if I remember correctly.
I think this is probably about the time that it came from. Yeah. This isn't a necessarily watch-long show. It's kind of become one, but Cal Hero ends up taking the victory here. Not a surprise. Cal's always been book strong.
Yeah, he definitely retains the title on this one, even though it was a hard-fought match on the part of Will Austin.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what the next Push Will Austin movement is.
Figure out who your next potential management candidate is?
No, I will only. It's
for
only
them
Will.
to get way past the ability for you to manage them.
It's only Will.
Oh, okay.
It's Austin or nothing.
For real, that would be fun.
His latest push move
doesn't even have to be me. I just have a vision for what a manager would look like with him, and I think it would be really fun. That's all.
All right. Well, you got notes there, Jackman. What's the second match?
Freya the Slayer, the Queen of the North, and the Bougetto with Spatty Hollywood Haley J.
With special referee La Princesa Tiffany Nieves.
I remember this match.
Yeah, this is a number one contenders match.
Yeah,
also.
we were there for that one as well.
Yeah, we're here for a lot of these. This whole thing, we can kind of talk about these because we've seen them.
Yeah. And this was a great match as well.
Tiffany's champion here.
And Al has threatened her that if she doesn't call this match down the middle, she's going to lose her job.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I believe Freya would go on to win based on this number one contender because she does, spoiler alert, she wins this match. I think she wins the belt, but then that's how Layla gets it, right? Takes it off of her.
Yeah, because we've seen Tiffany and Layla for the belt, but it was when they were doing shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the match where there's actual interference. And she begrudgingly counts to 3 and declares Freya the winner.
Yeah, it's the slowest count in history.
Yeah. Yeah, it is blatantly obvious that she does not want to rematch Freya, and rightly so on her part, because I'm sure that Freya is very formidable. But if you had to pick between the two, who would you want
If
to...
I was sitting in Tiffany's shoes?
Yeah. I mean, there's no right answer.
I might go Freya, and watch out for the power of Freya,
Yeah.
and just try to cheat my way to the top, because you can't out cheat Haley.
No.
So
You gotta.
if you're Tiffany in this situation, you gotta go against the person that you could beat by cheating.
Yeah, because you got to watch for the what was it? Soccer Rocks.
Soccer Rocks.
Soccer Rocks.
Yep. Yeah. So if you were asking me from Tiffany's perspective, I'd probably give the win to Freya as well.
Yeah, and that's what she was hoping for as well when she accidentally hit Haley with the fire extinguisher,
Oh yeah.
because she was aiming for Freya and Freya moved and yoink. There's that.
1, 2, 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Even
In
that
this
3
case.
was too long.
In this case,
All right.
Oh,
Well,
there it
you
is.
want to move on to Thanksgiving Thunder?
these are kind of like 3 of your stars, man. Like
Yeah.
you got to have them in and around each other's hair as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
EC3 versus Jesse Goddard's. There's a blast from the past.
This is Thanksgiving Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving Thunder of last year. This is prior to Chain Carnage. Chain Carnage is December of that
Correct.
year, right?
I thought Christmas Chaos featured Chain Carnage. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
That's a lot of k and ch.
That's what I was thinking as well. So this is where EC3 takes the championship, becomes the double champion, right?
Yes. Yeah, he never loses it after this moment.
These Chirons look great.
They do.
So that's almost a year. That's 9 months, really, of EC3 is the biggest title holder in OVW in the entire company.
Yes.
Across 2 different factions?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Overman and the Revolution.
Well, and he was in the faction
he
too,
was
so
in
let's
the
make it
faction.
3.
That's 3.
But that was before the dissolution of the faction is what put him into this position to win the national championship against Jesse Goddard's, right? Have that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesse went off to TV land, so we've seen him a couple of times, right?
Yeah, he's done a run in a couple of different times.
Briefly, very briefly. I think he wrestled a tag team match alongside Luke Curtis.
He did.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's been about it that we've seen Jesse Goddard, who was such a stalwart for such a long time. But if you're off making money, doing something else, do it, man. That's what we're all here to do.
Well, I'm glad you guys bring that up, because this is one of the matches that stuck out to me, obviously, because we haven't seen Jesse Goddard in a while. Do you think that there's a chance that we'll see him at Homecoming, or more importantly, Appalachian Wireless Arena?
Highly.
You think so?
Oh, really?
I think it's just about time.
I kind of feel like that's why we saw this match this week.
And I think that it's a very easy stop to pull.
Sure, and it will get a big pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. About
Do we
the
see
biggest.
cash flow while we're on the subject?
Less sure.
Because Tulsa King's wrapped. We know that.
That's
he is
true.
wrapped.
It is not out of the realm of possibility, but
The first thing that happens whenever something wraps is you get sit on press, though.
That is true.
yeah. There's
And
that.
I've been led to believe that this is a speaking part. This isn't Thug in the Back Part 2. Or
No.
number 2.
He's in the main titles, as far as I know.
Yeah, so
I've yet to see him in trailers.
I have a feeling that Cash loves OVW. I'm sure he'll do everything he can to be there. I don't know though, because that's just a different kind of contractual obligation. Getting doing a press tour.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just a totally different thing, man.
And the fact that the second season comes out on September 5th means that he is going to be out there hitting the pavement and answering questions the whole entire time between now and then.
In the streaming age, you don't have 9 months to do press.
No.
You don't have a year to do press.
No, you strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, you do your entire press junket in a week, because as soon as they have that sucker edited, the first episode edited together, they drop it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's just a totally different world. I think Cash is less likely, but I do think that it's like and this is all just conjecture, I think that Jesse is an easy plug here to plug into the homecoming leading into Fight Night.
Well, it would make sense to have some people that we haven't seen in a while come back to Davis Arena, if not on Thursday, but back to OVW on Fight Night 2 nights later.
Yeah, I think that we don't know what we're gonna see. Expect the unexpected. The only surefire thing is a surprise.
That is correct.
And this was a surprisingly good match. I remember this being very satisfied with this match, despite not really liking the outcome.
And
Yeah.
really just kind of we sat on this microphone and shat on Chain Carnage forever.
Yes, we did.
The rematch to this.
Yeah. And this is worked a little bit stronger than Chain Carnage was, but these guys just have like very similar skill sets, very similar looks.
I want to know when the Boston Crab became the California Crab. Because when I was growing up, the move that Jesse Goddard has EC3 in at the top of the ramp there by the commentators was the Boston Crab.
It's when it got some sunshine.
Ah, okay then. Good.
When it stopped raining.
Yeah.
Had to put on some SPF 40
It got rid of its Catholic guilt.
and caught a greyhound, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, it got out of that Greyhound like the Welcome to the Jungle video.
Yeah. Slash is just kind of standing a block away.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, thank you for clearing that up, man.
Yeah, so after the conclusion of this match, EC3 becomes our double champion, has been ever since. Probably still will be after the next week of action. We'll know this time next week.
Yeah.
Inescapable. EC3 is inescapable.
Like a Boston Crab.
Yes.
Are there any titles on the line in that 10-man match?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I wouldn't think it would be. I would think it would be more of a, we're fighting for the honor of the OVW locker room against the Revolution. But what do I know? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
May even be for access to the locker room. If you'll remember, the Revolution has not been allowed access to their locker to the OVW locker room this whole time.
That's right.
That's why I got to change out here next to the dumpster.
I got to change in the dumpster.
I got to change into a dumpster.
That's where Tommy Wildfire Rich is. Have we checked the dumpster?
We will
at
check
Davis
it on
Arena?
Thursday.
Yeah, okay. I'm making notes right now.
They threw his old ass in there.
And the podcast falls speechless.
Up next,
you're right.
Up next is the in this compilation, this very, very special episode. No, actually, like a very special episode would be like Brian Kinnison being like, if you ever get lost from home, find a neighbor's house who you trust and give us a call or something like. You remember very special episodes from back in the day?
Like after school specials.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, like
or like on Different Strokes.
okay, let's not get into that one. Let's just move along.
I remember that one.
Yeah, everybody, we won't get into it here, but look up the very special episode of Different Strokes about the bike shop.
Or feel free not to.
And prepare and remember that's what got away on broadcast television in prime time.
So next up is Super Z versus Dalton McKenzie.
That's right. The exception, Dalton McKenzie, in the ring versus Super Z on Super Z's debut.
Yes. Pre-Revolution, Dalton.
Yes. This is, hey, I'm from Cincinnati and I like Van Halen.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he wore a jean jacket in the pre-video.
Yeah.
The setup video for this match, and was like being a bully, like an 80s bully. Like an 80s teen movie bully.
Like Biff?
Like Biff Tannen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy, the guy who played Biff, writes songs and they're funny. You should look
Tom
those
Wilson.
up.
He's
Tom
hilarious.
Wilson. Yeah, that's fun. Look that up.
The question song.
Yes, the question song. Let's move.
Actually, just go down the Wikipedia entry for Different Strokes very special episodes. There's some weird ones in there.
Oh, yeah. The one when, the girl does wash her hair in acid rain and it turns her hair green.
That wasn't the one I was talking about.
I was thinking about the Mr. T episode.
Yeah, that's when Arnold shaves his head into a mohawk.
What about the one on What's Happening where Rerun gets caught bootlegging the Doobie Brothers?
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Because which Doobie might you be?
The Michael McDonald era Doobie Brothers, too.
Yeah.
The best era. It's to teach kids not to bootleg.
Yes.
But now everybody has computers and cameras in their pockets with their phones, and it happens every single day at every single concert all around the world.
There was a time
And no one
period
ever
where
listens to them.
I actually had every bootleg from every show I'd ever seen, other than like small. I'd go to punk shows or whatever.
Oh, wow.
If I went to a bigger show with a bootleg community, I had every single show saved on a computer.
Wow.
Yeah.
The only bootlegs I have are on vinyl, and they're Led Zeppelin bootlegs that I haven't listened to.
I actually got a Zeppelin bootleg myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we should talk about that off mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even listen to them on the turntable now that I've got it working.
I have to get it out of storage, but yes.
All right.
All right. So yeah, Super Z, Dalton McKenzie kind of got slotted into that role in the Revolution and was quickly Uncle Phil, DJ Jazzy Jeff out the door. While we're talking about sitcoms, to be replaced
I think
by
you mean
AJZ.
Big Beef. Big Beef was the one who got.
Yeah.
You're
Dalton's
right.
still in
Dalton
there.
is still in
Yeah,
it.
he's still in there.
Yeah,
Big
he's
Beef.
paired with that Hunter guy now.
You know what? I actually like that because I wanted Big Beef to have a solo thing outside of that. But you're right. Dalton is still in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're totally right. Thank you for correcting me.
I wonder if we'll see Big Beef again anytime soon.
I hope so. I think he's got a great look. I want him to have a singles title.
Yeah.
Like, I just like big country strong boys. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and he's earned it. He's put in the work.
Like, I don't know. Looks like a dude I went to high school with. That's what I like about him.
Is a dude that Brian worked with for a while, so
No, I was talking about Beef.
Oh,
but
Beef.
Dalton-
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry. Wrong person. I was still thinking
Yeah.
about Dalton.
No, I worked with Dalton, but not Big Beef. And that's very much how Dalton is.
And Super Z gets the win here, flexing his superpower.
Did Dalton ever push you into a locker?
No. We always got along great.
Okay, that's good.
But I can't say the same for other folks.
Who did he push into a locker? Name their full name.
Okay, let's not spill that particular cup of tea.
But
We are not that kind of a podcast. At least not yet.
We haven't seen it either. Super Z takes the victory. We're moving on. We're not going an hour tonight.
I think we're pretty close.
Are
to
we
that.
close?
Yeah, we're getting there. That's for
Lord
sure.
have mercy. We haven't seen either one of these two recent. Well, we haven't seen anybody recently. But Angelica Riss and Alice Crowley, Big Al, I think as they like to call her.
Right.
We were really high and have been really high on Angelica Riss. I don't know enough about Alice Crowley at this point. I think I've seen her a couple other places.
She's been in the Women's Royal Rumble
Yeah.
or Nightmare Rumble here a couple of times.
But I've been able to see Angelica do more different things.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and Halleck has been featured in OVW way more than Alice.
So
Yeah.
At least in our time watching OVW.
I'd like to see more Alice Crowley.
I really would like to see more
I would
Alice.
And
too.
I'd like to see more Angelica Riss, too.
Yeah. I've seen Big Al at some local shows back in Ohio.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit more familiar with her, but just because of that. But she's a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, she's big.
Yeah.
Like, you can't teach it.
This is a classic speed versus power match.
Mm-hmm. I think
Would love to see Alice come in and take on Freya.
Oh boy, that'd be a good match.
That'd be a series of good matches.
It certainly would.
chop each other down. I think that as we move forward and kind of are looking for new people and storylines, go ahead and circle Angelica Riss. I think she's going to be a big player in the upcoming months.
I would hope so because she always puts on a great match.
She's got all it takes.
Yeah, she's got all the tools she could ever need.
So, yeah. And I mean, I just think that we're in a moment of transition.
And she takes the win here.
Yes,
She does.
she certainly does.
Yeah. No, she's great. She's great. Super well-rounded. Really like Angelica Riss.
Yes.
So from here forward, we go way back in time.
Yes.
One of the go ahead, Brian.
Now, this was the first time
It's only 40 years.
we got to see Tusks and Chains
Yeah.
together.
The first time that we were like, do we like this?
Is
And
this
then-
I remember we all kind of looked at each other when they came out together. It's like we really love TW3. we really love Donovan. Are these two great tastes that taste great together?
Yeah, they're like a vanilla Coke, baby.
Turns out they're Reese cups.
They are, exactly.
Oh, is that that?
That's the marketing slogan, yeah.
Yes.
I don't eat a lot of candy.
Neither do I, but it was my dad's favorite, so I'm pretty familiar.
If I was to eat a candy, it would be Reese Puffs. Or Reese cups.
Taking on the Fallen. How nice is it to see the full Fallen here, by the way?
I miss the Fallen as a unit. I really do.
They better have paid Zach twice for this show, too.
Right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's on Wednesday. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I guess I sort of do.
Yeah, this is the first time we get to see Donovan use T-Dub as a battering ram.
Yeah.
And, throwing him off the top rope. I mean, it's just a solid match. ZDP was as ferocious and rabid as he ever was. Damone Salavino was, as solid as he ever was. Reverend Ronnie was as entertaining as he ever was.
I feel like this may have been the one where we were on the TV side, like on the hard cam side. I think this may have been the one where Ronnie had had pizza in his pants.
Yeah, that was a great episode, and that's one of the reasons I love going to Davis Arena, because you can watch the program, but sometimes what's going on outside of what you see on TV really steals the show, and this is a time when the Dark Reverend really had us rolling. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, because I end up usually just watching. I know you watch it like 3 times. I usually watch live,
right?
And then I watch on Sundays sometime before we sit down to record. And the experience is two very different stories told. Same story in ring, but when you're around the crowd and you're seeing the outer ring stuff, and there's just certain stuff that doesn't get caught by the camera, it's worth investing in it twice.
It definitely is.
It's a 3-ring circus sometimes at Hot Point Davis Arena, so it's fun.
Frequently.
We also probably should shout out Miss Linda Kay and Brian Kinnison for hosting us this evening.
Yes.
Yeah, in a very Overdrive-esque series of vignettes. She definitely seems to be getting into the rivalry and kind of, it's fun.
Yeah, kind of poking at each other a little bit.
Yeah, few little shots here and there, and
yeah, they share a beer and kind of, bury the hatchet, but Brian spills it all over himself, and at the end of it, he's not wearing a shirt, and
that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Kind
sometimes.
of Overdrive. Brian Kinnison showed up for these Rise recaps.
Yes,
got a 10-man match here with a very, very, very blonde Luke Curtis. Flipping and flopping all over for Cal Hero. Really putting in double duty.
Yeah, this is when they were still the faction.
Yeah.
And we didn't know who was going to be coming out in this match. But with that being said, there are some familiar faces we haven't seen in a while. So,
geez, Luke looks like he looks punchable with that blonde hair. I'm glad when he transitioned to babyface, he darkened that down a little bit. It's usually the opposite. Usually, when you go bad, you go dark, but no.
He went the other way with it.
No, that was a smart choice. He looks like Johnny Valentine or something.
So, since you didn't get a chance to see this, perfect timing. What do you think the chances of Joe Mack coming back for Homecoming? I know that the OVW fans would love to see him.
Be a very different Joe Mack, too, than the one that left.
I would imagine so.
It would have to be. Because he's not getting a heel reaction when he comes out.
No.
Joe Mack is one of the great interview that got away. One of the couple that we wanted to get that we weren't able to get before they became unavailable.
Unfortunately, yes. But hopefully we'll be able to rectify that at some point, and maybe he'll surprise us with an appearance on Thursday or on Saturday, because there are still 3 mystery spots in the 10-man match for Fight Night.
Well, we think we know 2, and I'm coming under the conclusion that we know nothing.
No. I am 100% in agreement with you on that.
Because things I thought I knew I now know are.
You don't necessarily know nothing.
I don't know.
I don't even know what I don't know.
I don't even know
Which is the real
SHIT,
problem.
brother. Like, Joe Mack, Luke Curtis.
Yeah, if Joe Mack were to come back, he would blow the roof off of Davis Arena or the Appalachian Wireless Center, either one.
You know, and he's Luke's my friend. I want to be with Luke. I'm a good guy now. EC3, you always held me down. You know, if he was to come back,
It rots itself.
The baby
Yeah.
faces, the baby face thing
Yeah,
are right there on the
exactly.
table, right there on the table.
But obviously, they put this match in to build the hype for Fight Night and the 10-man match.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who can take a beating from a bunch of heels better than Cal Hero?
Nope.
No.
Very few.
I mean, the early going when we get all the faction out there together, or was it the Overmen at this point? I think it was still the faction.
This was the faction, yes. They refer to the faction several times. And not knowing who, the faction was going to send out next to fight the OVW locker room. And notice that Tony and Cal kind of had a moment there where they had previously had some differences, and Tony reached out to help him up.
Yeah, I mean, he got him fired. He made him work concessions, for like 3 weeks.
Now, those would have been great shows to see at Davis Arena.
Oh, it
Go
was
up and
so
get a hot
funny
dog
because
from
the
Cal.
camera would just kind of pan over, and Cal's like stirring popcorn.
So where concession was when he did that
Was
is
where
now
merch is.
where merch is now. So the first time when they first did that, Cal was standing basically in the kitchen of what was originally the snack bar, and I just walked up to him. I'm like, "I'll have a popcorn, please." And you could see him kind of jump with that learned muscle memory. He was ready to get me my order.
Cal's smart. Don't take him long to learn.
No.
How's this thing turn out, Brian?
Let's see. Actually, there was a lot going on. The wild card in all of this was the lights go dark, and that signals the return of Isaiah.
Because he comes and helps out cash flow.
He comes and helps out the OVW locker room entirely and just cleans house. Like, just levels everybody in the faction.
You know, Isaiah is one of the all-time beloved figures in Ohio Valley Wrestling.
He
Yes.
really is. Wait, this isn't the 10-man from the big one last year? I mean, because Isaiah did that there too.
He did that there too, but
That's what
this
he
is
do.
not it, I don't believe.
That's what he do.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere you want to be.
He is, in fact, a hood ninja.
I really hope that we see Isaiah in the next week.
He's one of the all-time beloved figures, man.
Yeah.
You know? But no, I think this is the big one, is it not? Cal comes out first. Iron Man's it.
I honestly
Well,
don't
that's the Nightmare Rumble. He did that. He was the
No,
second.
he did it in the big one as well.
He just is so good at that.
He's one of the only guys that could do it.
Yeah.
And that's not me talking bad about anybody, but he has it's a cardio thing, man. He's just built a little different.
Yeah, with the help of Isaiah, Team OVW takes the win on this one.
Dog, there I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is definitely the big one because I remember Cal comes off
We're on the ramp here.
and we're looking at I look at him and I go, and Cal goes.
Yep, there you are.
And
We're in the Chris Runyon box of the ramp, right?
Yeah. There I am wearing my Hawaiian shirt. There's senior producer Victor Anderson right there with us.
Yeah. That was
And
good.
I believe that is you standing behind Jackman and
So
I.
Team OVW takes the victory here.
It's either me or it's a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade balloon that got away.
If that's the case, this is our first time at Davis Arena.
No.
No?
We'd been there in
Second.
July, but it was, yeah.
Okay, our second one.
Yes.
The first one after we knew that we could that we weren't gonna completely crash and burn at this effing thing.
Yeah.
So what a great show that was. That's also the wedding. That's
That was the first time I met Joe Cooley.
well, yeah. You lent him you did lend him a knife here.
Yeah. I lent him my pocket knife because he was having trouble getting the wedding decorations from the ring.
This is very early on, too, into me trying a version of this haircut. I think I've got it down.
Jackman has some seminal hair analysis.
Yeah, it took me a while to grow into this one, but I think I finally got it.
So, yeah.
Hey, there's Keith.
Love you, Keith.
Love you, Keith.
Good to see you
OVW
yesterday.
takes the win
Yeah.
in this
Cal
match
Hero.
at the big one.
Cal
Yeah.
Hero, first one out, last one to leave. I remember it. Remember it very well.
That's how it usually goes in the case of Cal Hero.
All right. So, Brian, you want to take us home?
Sure. Let's see. The OVW Podcast, the 10th Carney Award-nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Black Light Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW Podcast broadcast team is my colleague Jackman Oakes and myself, Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. And senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. On Wednesday night, catch the OVW Podcast team as we host the OVW Fan Zone, an OVW fan talk show on the OVW Video Network.
That's where fans talk back.
That's right. After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Or we're going to be doing another one of those before too long, correct?
We definitely need to do that, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the list with Tulsa King and a couple others.
There's a lot. It's a big list.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, rate us 5 stars, and give us a review. Please and thank you in advance. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, Thread. Haitian. Have a good night.